this month on iRacingTV. With an amazing new build out, iRacingTV debuts a new segment highlighting the latest news in the world of iRacing. We'll show highlights from the next round of the NASCAR iRacing Drivers World Championship Series, where Brad Davies and Richard Towler look like they are taking it right down to the wire. On the roadside, can Gregor Hutu win with one hand tied behind his back? And where are Derek Wood and Richard Towler going? They're going to sit down for 2 races, that's where. We'll explain what happened when the Open Wheel Series heads to Watkins Glen and the road course in Indy. On this month's How To segment, we'll show how to import and handle those setup files directly from the forums, and then give you some tips on binding wheel buttons to car functions. We'll get back to covering the Road Pro Series, where there's another fin on the loose, and we'll show you who's made the cut to be locked in as a DWC driver next season. We'll have highlights of iRacing sending the best 10 US and Canadian drivers to the sim racing city that never sleeps for a 20-lap showdown that decides the 4 finalists in the Intel GP Series in Episode 5 for November 2010 on iRacingTV.
Hello, welcome to iRacing News. This is Sean. I'm with Kevin Bobbitt here today. We'd like to start by discussing the October build that launched just a few weeks ago. By now you're already running on the build, but in case there's some details in the build you haven't seen yet, I want to tell you just a little bit more about what we've included. We'll begin with shadows and lighting. Both of those were upgraded since our last build, and now they're more optimized to run on many different PCs. So hopefully you've been able to see some of the new improvements, not only again in shadows, but also in lighting. Next, we upgraded our member profile. Again, if that's something you've never seen before, we're going to roll some footage here in just a moment so that you can learn how to use that and get the most out of it that you can.
Okay, now we're going to take a look at some of the additional features from the latest build, which came out this past October. What we're going to look at right now is the member profile and awards section. So you're obviously familiar with the home screen here. This is the press room. You can see the new build news and other things. All you have to do is click on the dashboard and you will magically see your dashboard screen, which obviously you can move around. May not look exactly like mine. I've moved some things around. I like to see my profile. And over here, where my cursor's moving, you can see that I've already loaded a picture. Didn't do a bio yet because I wasn't sure what to put in there, but I'll give that some thought and add that. I have added some personal information, name, where I live, websites, things like that, league website, and then I've also filled in some of my favorites. Previously, favorites were all determined by how much you'd raced a particular car and how much you'd raced at a particular track. We got a lot of feedback that said, while I did race at such and such a track, that's not really my favorite one. So now we have the ability, or we gave you the ability, to choose your own. So as you can see, I've listed what my favorite real cars are, favorite real tracks, and then iRacing cars and tracks, and then some of my personal hobbies. So again, this is all customizable by you. You can do as little or as much as you want, or you can leave it blank. And the cool thing is you can arrange these in any particular order that you want. So there we go. In this build, we've also automated the award system. Previously, when you earned an award, whether it was a first win or a series championship, the process was that the marketing department would create them by hand and then email them out. It's a bit time-consuming and not terribly efficient. So we listened to feedback from you guys, and we've come up with an automated way for you guys to receive your awards and also to display them. So we think that's pretty cool. All you need to do is click on Stats and then Personal and wait for the page to load. Just takes a second. And now you can see your profile information again. We've already covered that. Your career stats. Click on Awards, and any awards that you've earned will show up down here. So I have a first road win, a first oval win, and driving school completion certificate. I've earned all of those. There are several others that are listed, and we'll be adding more in the future. These are ones that I've not earned yet, but I hope to. So these are things you can strive for. The cool thing is you can check these out on other people's pages as well, and you can create a PDF just by clicking on it that is printable, and suitable for framing. So go out there and try to win some certificates.
Kevin, thanks for that piece on the member profile. I thought that was very interesting. So what else has happened in this previous build that we launched in October?
Well, quite a few things. Obviously, most of you all know that the new Grand Am series has launched. I'm pretty excited about that. Multi-class racing with the DP and the Mustang Challenge car. So far, it's proved to be a lot of fun. A little background on that is that opportunity to work with Grand Am started way back last year at the Rolex 24 when Sean and I were down there supporting the Gainsco team. We were there. You may remember that we had the iRacing logo on the rear wing of the 99 Red Dragon. And conversations with Grand Am started then. It's, I won't bore you with the details, but it's always a long process to sort these things out. And it starts with a bit of interest from both parties, work out the details, work out the contract, and what was that, 8 or 9 months later, here we are. Now we have a pretty exciting series. And some pretty cool coverage with Grand Am posting results and a weekly news story on the series, which is very cool.
Yeah, that's great. Kevin, impressive work there getting Grand Am on board, and I'm sure all of us are excited to be a part of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing that we ought to mention, obviously the Williams FW31 is out. Everybody already knows that. Been all over the web with news on that, as well as the MX-5, both the Cup car and the Roadster. Those have proven to be extremely popular, as we kind of imagined they would be. And lots of good feedback in the forums, lots of feedback from drivers who actually race them, and just all around good fun. I hope you guys are taking advantage of the multiple series that we have. Obviously we have the A-level FW31 series, as well as the Formula Fun series, and then obviously the MX-5 stuff is open to everybody.
Yeah, I just can't believe how much fun that FW31 car is. Same thing with the Mazda MX-5. It's awesome, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a lot of fun to run them together here at the open house last month.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you had the MX-5 running and the FW31 whizzing by.
In the same session, it's pretty crazy.
Should be some interesting hosted sessions, I would imagine. All right, and now we're on to news of the upcoming build. The build is scheduled for the end of January. This is probably what you all are most interested in, what's coming, not what we've already released. Pretty exciting stuff. First thing we want to talk about is a street stock car. Everybody knows we've been talking about it for a while. It's in production. It's the car that Dale Jr. let us scan at his shop, and it'll be number 6 in the long line of cars that we provide to members as a free car. So we're really excited to be adding this car for next build.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. What's interesting about the street stock car, it's actually going to be the advanced rookie car on the oval side. So what we're doing is we're taking the current advanced rookie car, which is the Advanced Legends, and we're going to make that the new rookie car. So what that means is it's going to be a fixed setup race car, but you're going to see that it's just a tick faster than the current Legends car. So we're excited for that. And what else is coming, Kevin?
Well, track news, Spa. Everybody knows we're working on Spa, and it's coming along nicely, as you can see by some of the photos that Greg Hill's provided us. Not quite ready to show you a drive along yet, but we'll probably definitely have that in the next episode of iRacingTV, if not sooner. Might post something up on our YouTube channel, so keep watching that. But Spa is definitely going to be available for the next build, hopefully by the end of this year, which will be really cool to take the FW31 out on.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Well, thanks, Kevin. We're going to get on to some watching some recap footage now. Deep into the NASCAR iRacing Series World Championships inaugural season, we have just about seen it all. It's been an amazing first year hosting this great championship, and all of us here at iRacing hope you've had as much fun watching the season play out as we have. But we aren't done just yet. With 7 different winners in the first 7 races, and 10 different winners so far in the first 15 races, we knew we were going to witness something special. Richard Towler, with 4 wins this season, and Brad Davies with 2, emerged in an epic back-and-forth battle for the lead in the championship, and they took the fight right up to the very last race, both with eyes on that $10,000 prize money. Here's Daryl Morley with highlights of the final 3 rounds from Richmond for the first night race, Chicagoland, and then we'll wrap it all up in Charlotte.
Good evening and welcome to iRacing NASCAR, iRacing.com World Championship Series. Tonight we emanate for the first time ever from Richmond International Raceway, and Nim, it is under night, dark night skies that we come to our viewers here tonight. Early going here. Pace car pulls in the Mustang down onto pit road. Don't worry, we'll see it again here tonight. Green flag, Towler with a huge jump off the start. Towler out in front. Not a problem letting him set the pace right now.
Looks like we have Chavo going in corner number 3, and the yellow flag is out. 30 cars on the lead lap right now. Brad Davies, your leader. Richard Towler, second. Ray Alfala, third. Derek Wood, fourth. And Josh Parker, fifth.
McKenzie stepped right on through. McKenzie up to 6th. Thomas Lewandowski now down to 7th. Full drivers come down pit road for pit stops. Brad Davies down pit road for a pit stop, as is Josh Parker in the number 21 machine, as it looks like it's going to be the number 9 machine. A green flag. We are back underway here at Richmond International Raceway. 146 laps complete as we approach the 3/4 complete mark. Down the back stretch as Josh Parker tries to find some room around Ray Alfala. Derek Wood made it work. He's back up in that second spot. 9 machine of Derek Wood takes a peek to the inside of the number 6 of Richard Towler.
And Towler has to give him that lane going down the inside right now. Wood to the inside coming off corner number 4.
Towler almost had to push it 3 wide, working by lap traffic as Sandeep Banerjee was working around the number 1 machine. As almost some contact with Davies working by Sandeep as well. It'll be 10 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time by.
Until Towler makes a mistake, and how often do we see Towler make mistakes? Not very, as they work around the lap car of Matt Santel. Daniel Pope. Ray Alfala and Daniel Pope got together coming off corner number 2.
Wood pit, everybody's coming down. If Wood doesn't pit, nobody else coming down. Derek Wood looks like he's showing, and Wood pit, nobody else is coming. Oh my goodness, Derek Wood just snookered himself.
Once, yeah, we'll have 3 laps to go to the end. So pace car is off. Josh Berry right there. He'll get the second spot.
Berry finds his way by Brad Davies, and Josh Berry up to 2nd spot. We've got trouble in turns 3 and 4. That'll bring out the yellow flag. That'll slow this field down. It'll lock him in place, and Richard Towler will take home the win. Checkers fly. Richard Towler takes home the win here at Richmond International.
Josh Berry brings her home in 2nd place after going to the rear of the field. He does bring her home in 2nd place. Brad Davies 3rd, Josh Parker 4th, Thomas Hazard 5th, and your boy, the rookie, Richie Davidowitz, brings her home in the 6th spot.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NASCAR iRacing.com Drivers World Championship. This is round number 17. We are about to get the green silk to kick off round number 17 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Drivers World Championship. Pace car makes a hard left turn down onto pit road. Green flag flies. We are underway. Just behind them, 3 wide going into the corner. 12 in the middle, little bit of a slide for that Byron Daly machine.
Battle for the lead right now. Brian Davies looking to the inside of Richard Towler going down the back straightaway. Davies does have position and will pick up that spot.
In the middle of traffic, looking to pass Brian Blackford now in number 35. Here he comes, side by side, they go for 6th.
Yeah, Lewandowski underneath Blackford. Looks like he will get that position. Lewandowski likes his car set up very loose. Actually, it's scary loose, and he does a great job hanging on to it. He is definitely a wheelman to the 10th spot. Oh, we had trouble. Blackford and Schomburg, and Hazard spins coming off corner 4.
Oh, big hit for Hazard in the 8 as well. Bernstein gets involved in this one.
Big important pit stop right now. Wood brings him down pit road. Towler right there, Davies, these guys, this is the money time.
He's off pit road, Derek Wood, very quick off, 10 car, P1 off pit road, Towler in a 2nd, Alfala 3rd. Green so flies, great start once again for the 10 of Derek Wood, Richard Towler in 2nd. Can he get down low? No, he can't. Here comes Ray Alfala.
Davies feeling the pressure now. He's got to get up and he's got to get in front of Towler to make a run at this championship. Right now, the 10 points separates them, 10 points on the track right now. So right now, Tyler increasing his lead over Davies, which Tyler has the challenge of Brad Davies as they go down the back straightaway. Davies snuck his nose underneath going into corner number 1, had to back out because Tyler was coming down.
It's like the 4 of Ray Alfala into the wall. Alfala going to lose 1, 2, 3 positions. Alfala back to position number 5, and even more. Here comes Josh Berry. Going to fly this time. 5 laps to go. We are back underway. The 3 of Davies, mighty loose on the inside. He's looking for Tyler for second. And out down the back into corner number 3. Here comes the 2 with Josh Berry down low. Berry trying to get into second. Davies up the racetrack, 3 wide behind him. Boy, oh boy, these guys are racing hard for position number 3.
And it looks like the caution is out. That will probably end the race right here. But some very hairy driving going down the...
Now checkered flag in the hand of the starter. Car number 10, Derek Wood, will come across the line, and he will win round number 17 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Drivers World Championship at Chicagoland Speedway. Richard Towler, Josh Berry, Brad Davies, Ray Alfala is your top 5.
Welcome back here on PSR TV. Hopefully you're as ready. Hopefully you're as excited as we are. Nim, tonight we get to help award one of these drivers, one of 2 people, more than likely, $10,000. NASCAR accolades, bragging rights, and a trip to Homestead Miami Speedway to watch the final event for the Cup Series. Jim Moore and Patrick Fogel, Richie Davidovich, John Prather, Matt Santel, Vinny Sansone, and a whole host of others round out this field. We'll get to them when we can. Right now, green flag. We are underway, and immediately Richard Towler, RT, jumps out to a commanding lead. Here we come. Green flag in hand. Green flies. Davies gets a good start. Richard Towler did not. Here comes Ray Alfala down to the inside of Richard Towler. The 2 Floridians now ahead of Richard Towler. The pack, that'll bring us under caution yet again. Pope involved in this most recent yellow flag.
A little bit of a difficult position here. Towler definitely has an advantage on Alfala as they come to the line this tie.
The 16 of Connor McKenzie will also be pitting. Tyler Hudson coming down towards pit road, as is Josh Berry, the number 3 machine, as the number 5 of Ray Alfala already on pit road, making his pit stop. Richard Towler heading down onto pit road. Nice clean entry onto pit road. The question is now, was he down to pit road speed, or will he get a penalty? Davies will work his way down onto the pit road, and again, more than likely 4 tires for Brad Davies, as we'll have to wait and see what the strategy is.
Davies back out of the track and comes right back out of the banking. As you can see, Derek Wood going by Davies. Yeah, well, he's done a good job with his tires, and maybe that's part of his strategy to save his tires. Now he looks to the inside of Ray Alfala going down in the corner number 1. He has position, and one thing his little bit later pit stop does is that gives him a little bit fresher tires than these guys that pitted 4 or 5 laps ago.
Richard Towler needs to be very, very careful. It's nice to be able to race with a guy like Ray Alfala. You know he's going to run you clean. Your champion would be Richard Towler by a mere 18 points over Brad Davies. 2,626 to 2,608 by our unofficial calculations. White flag in the air. One more trip around the racetrack. Brad Davies doing everything he can, trying to log his 3rd win. Oh, Brad Davies, checkers in the air. 3 wins on the season. Davies takes the win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Derek Wood will take home 2nd spot, but the championship, that'll go to the number 7 of Richard Towler. RT is $10,000 Gritcher. Fantastic run for Richard Towler. RT, $10,000 Gritcher. Needs to get that passport in order.
4 rounds remain in the iRacing.com Drivers World Championship Road Series, and Gregor could clinch the championship during his next race. But when iRacing invited him to visit America on a secret mission to drive a real Star Mazda Formula car at Road Atlanta, can Gregor still pull off a staggering 15th win? And while Gregor plays Globetrotter, Richard Towler, Ilka Hapala, and Sean Purdy are in a tight fight for second in the points chase. The stars of road courses take their battle to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but not to the famed oval we are used to, because this is road course racing. And then they head back to a second race at Watkins Glen, where this time we're taking out all the bus stops and running on the classic boot configuration. Here's Tom Beatty with a call.
Thanks, Sean. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway's infield road course played host to round 15 of the Road Course World Championship Series, a car and track combo we have the luxury of running in the sim world and always hope for in the real world. But let's get right to the action because round 15 has a lot of it, both on and off the track. Possibly the biggest story of the day, as you see the top 10 qualifiers, is runaway points leader Gregor Hutu was on assignment in the United States to test a real Star Mazda car at Road Atlanta and was only able to manage the 10th fastest qualifying effort, clearly his worst all season. That left the door wide open for Richard Towler to take his second pole in a row ahead of his nearest rivals Ilka Heppela and Sean Purdy. Towler leads the field into turn 1. He knows he has to win this to do all he can to stop Hutu from clinching the championship at this race. All Hutu really needs to do is survive without a DNF, and he'll become the first iRacing world champion and do it in dominating fashion. Looks like all the leaders get through Sector 1, but look there at the top of your screen, you see a little contact in the background. We'll get to that in just a second. The leaders turn down Holman Boulevard and down to the only other good passing zone on this track. Let's look at the replay. It looks like sim racing legend Matt Sintel, who qualified 16th, makes a very bold move inside Milakovic and George Sandman. Unable to keep it on the inside, Matt clips Milakovic, takes himself and Sandman for a ride. Both drivers would be damaged, but would continue on and finish 3 laps down. Still on lap 1 on board Daniel Almeida, and from this angle it looks like there's contact between the 2 series newcomers Paul Richards and Leonetti. Both of those drivers would finish 2 laps down as well. Jump ahead 2 laps, Brad Davies takes podium assault driver Mark Payne around the outside. Payne has to fight hard, but he's got a mirror full of the hard-charging Gregor Hutu. As you would expect, Hutu coming up fast from 10th position on the same lap, and just behind this fight you see John Prather getting to the back of the already damaged Milos Milakovic. That would end Prather's day. He would finish dead last. Replay of the start from the Helicam. Watch the top of your screen. It looks like there is some bumping and banging into turn 1. Leonetti ends up in the sand. Then look to the bottom right. You'll see the Sintel Sandman crash into turn 4. Now on lap 17, Darren Marsh, Derek Wood, and Dion Vergers all in a fight for 4th. When Marsh passes Wood here, he didn't quite get off the corner as fast as Wood would like. Wood makes slight contact with him, turning him around, and there's just no room for Vergers to get out of the way. And just like that, all 3 have to retire. On board with Vergers just shows how close things are out there. Jump ahead, lap 23. Brad Davies has to make a black flag stop for not getting her slowed up enough to avoid the pit lane speed violation. That would cost him a lot of places, but he would fight back for a solid 7th. 2 laps later, and watch the leader, Richard Towler, come zooming up behind pro driver and series rookie Robinson Shields, with Heppela and Purdy right behind him. Towler, too, can't get her woed up and almost costs all 3 the race. But watch as Heppela takes advantage of the mistake by Towler and takes the lead from the Englishman. Right here, Towler would slot in a 2nd and Purdy 3rd. Wow. Lap 34, Blake Townend will slide under Ian Lake for 5th in a textbook move into turn 1. Those 2 would be nose to tail the entire race. Still on lap 34, and watch as Ray Alfala and Brad Davies go wheel to wheel for 12th. Alfala on the inside. I think he just gives Davies too much room. Goes around, tough breaker up for Alfala. He would finish 20th. Still watching the charging Brad Davies 15 laps later as he slingshots past Richard Curzier for 8th as he continues to charge from that black flag penalty. 5 laps later, and watch Ian Lake take Blake Townend all the way to the pit wall to unsuccessfully defend for 5th. But in the end, Richard Towler would end up on the top step of the podium for his first win of the series and breaking the dominance of Gregor Hutu. Heppela would finish in 2nd and take fast lap. Sean Purdy 3rd. Hutu would be able to manage a 4th place from his poor qualifying effort, but moreover, he would clinch the first Drivers' World Championship here at iRacing, and we congratulate him. So here are your top 10. One thing you didn't see was a track-cutting infraction by the winner Richard Towler, and 4th place qualifier Derek Wood. That infraction would be reviewed by the race stewards, and the competition committee would deem it not in the spirit of the rules. Richard Towler and Derek Wood would have to sit out the next 2 races. But the championship standings of Gregor Hutu now untouchable with 3 races to go, with our next race at Watkins Glen. Round 16 finds the DWC Series returning to Watkins Glen International, but this time the iRacing Road Course Drivers World Championship takes out the bus stop chicane and will run on the classic boot configuration that combines the classic F1 circuit with the new boot section added in the 70s. Gregor Hutu is back to his winning ways with his nearest rival Richard Towler absent due to his suspension in Indy. Hutu easily takes the pole, but check out second starting spot. Sean Purdy, Team Orion's runner-up all season, has finally qualified on the front row. Teammate Ilka Hapla will settle for third as you see the rest of the top 10. At the start, the new Mustang pace car dives into pit road. It actually looks like Hutu gets blocked a little bit by the pace car, but that puts Hapla and Purdy side by side as they head into that tricky turn 1. Look back in the field, some cars doing it 2 wide, some 3, and even more as they jockey for that critical early race position. Down through those fast S's, watch the field go by as we jump on board Ray Alfala. Ray Alfala qualified 10th. He needs a good finish here with his fight with Ryan Murray and John Prather in the championship. Let's watch him get crowded by Martin McKeown, who's trying to get past Alexi Aloma. But look up ahead, we can jump to that fight on board Darren Marsh as he pushes Hapla wide in the outer loop. He forces his way into third. Look behind him. Ian Lake in that black car wants to do the same thing to Dion Vergers, but he goes wide and can't pull it off as the cars head into the boot and down towards the toes. Back in the pack, watch Tim Holgate from the Team Podium Assault stable, who has moved up 6 positions in the first half lap. He goes wide to avoid Ben Cornett, and his race ends before it begins. Back up front as we watch Alfala dive under the number 2 car of McKeown. It's a very good pass by Alfala. 2 laps later, it looks like Alexi Aloma gets a better run down the straightaway and takes the man in black Ian Lake around the outside of the loop. Heads up racing for 5th position by both drivers. Jump to lap 6. Dion Vergers is now fighting with Darren Marsh for 4th. Not able to quite get the job done here, but neither driver wanting to yield to the other. Let's just watch some of the best racers in the world show us how to get it done. These guys still side by side as they head into the boot. Marsh now on the inside of Vergers. Aloma wants to get a piece of this fight too. Finally, Vergers able to move in front and take the spot from Marsh. Quick shot of Martin McKeown having a solo spin here. He tags the wall. He'll still manage a top 10 for the day. Now watch how quickly things go wrong. On board Reed, as Lake locks up, Reed has to mess up his turn entry to avoid, and bammo, Alfala tags Reed hard. Alfala would still finish 7th for the day. Nice job. Only 3 laps remaining, and another sim racing legend, Mark Payne, fought for nearly 30 laps with Ray Alfala, but just when things were looking good for the Team Podium Assault driver of Mark Payne, on the last lap, Payne loses power and is out of fuel. Tough break. Payne would fall from 8th to 18th. But Hutu, who was crowned world champion at the last race in Indy, pulls off his 15th win and 16th start. What an amazing season for the Finn. So here are your top 10. Hutu with the win. The next 3 cars are all Team Orion cars. Championship looks like this. It'll come to the wire with Towler. He's going to lose a lot of points to Hapla. Cornette having a horrible day, drops from 5th to 7th. Vergers and Marsh both leapfrog him, and Ian Lake breaks into the top 10. I'm Tom Beatty for iRacingTV.
In this how-to segment, we're going to show you how to load, save, and share setups. And we're going to go over how to bind in-car controls to your steering wheel or keyboard so that you have access to them during a racing session. Hello everyone. We're here today to work on how to load a setup, and we're also going to describe, once you have that setup, you can share it amongst your fellow drivers in a session, and you can also share it online in our forum. Okay, when you load up into the garage for the first time, you'll notice that you've got 3 options. The first is called iRacing Setups. When you click this, you'll see that we provide default setups for you for each race car in iRacing. Here you've got high, low, medium, and of course baseline. The next option is called shared setups. When you click this, in a live session, this is a place where drivers can share their setups with other drivers. Here you'll see that Kevin has shared his setup with the entire room. And if I wanted to, I could click that, load it onto my race car, and give it a try. Finally, we've got My Setups. When you look at My Setups, you'll see these are from all setups that you've made or downloaded that are available to you that are stored on your hard drive of your computer. So there's a variety of setups here, and we'll go into choosing one in just a moment. So to begin, if this is your first time using iRacing setups, we suggest you choose a default setup based on the track that you're running. As you can see, we are in the Daytona prototype here at Daytona, and for this track, it's appropriate to choose a low downforce setup. Since I selected a low downforce setup, I want to make just a few changes. To do that, I'll go into the chassis, and just for example, I'll lower some fuel out of the race car. In this example, I'm just taking about 10 gallons out of the gas tank. When I'm done making my changes, I click Apply. You'll see that the numbers on screen change to reflect the changes that I made on the race car. After I've done that, I can click Done, and I can go race. But before that, I want to save this change. So to do that, you go up to the option here, Save As. You click it, and then give it a quick title so that you know what you were doing. Sean Daytona Race. I'm going to save that. And now, if you go back to My Setups, you'll see it's right here, Sean Daytona Race. That way I can feel free to load that setup, I can make changes on it, save it, and that way I don't get confused as to which setup I'm working with. Now the next thing you can do is you can share this setup with the entire room. Because I'm in a live session right now, all I want to do is go and click Share. Here I get to choose who I can share it with. Right now there's 2 drivers in the session. I can share it amongst the club that I'm affiliated with, or I can just share it with everyone. In this case, I'm going to share the setup with everyone. I select that option, click OK. If I go into Shared Setups now, I'll see my setup and Kevin's. We'll select mine for right now. As you can see here, I've chosen my setup. What I'm going to do now is now that it's loaded on, I'm going to go into a session and test. All you have to do is go down and click Done once you've loaded the setup that you would like to use, and you can go right into the practice session. When it's time to look for a setup in the forum, one great place to go is your own club forum. I'm going to look in here, and here we have a setup for the Daytona prototype. You'll know that this is a setup file because it's got the extension .sto. When you're ready to download that file, all you have to do is click it, and then you want to save it in the proper location. This is very important because if you don't save it in the right folder, you're not going to be able to have access to it when you get into a live session or test. So I'm going to go search for the proper location, go to Documents, go into iRacing, then you want to click into Setups, and then you want to make sure you save it in the proper car folder. In this case, it's the Riley DP. And this is my iRacingTV setup right here. I'm just going to save it, and then close. So that's how you save a setup from the forums into the proper car folder so that you have access to it when you go online. And now we're going to go online and load in that setup. Once you've saved the setup from the forum into the proper folder on your hard drive, it's time to retrieve it and then load it onto your car in a live test session. So now that you've saved it, it's one of your setups. You go to My Setups, and we saved the iRacingTV setup, so I've found it here. I've clicked it once, and I click Open. You'll see that once it's done, it registers the name of the setup up here, iRacingTV setup, and then the green light for Done comes on. If I wanted to, I could go in and make adjustments, but right now I just want to go test. So I'm going to click Done, and then enter the practice session. I just completed a test session with the setup that I found on the forum. What I'd like to do now is I've just made a few small adjustments to it, and I'd like to save it and then share it with my club mates back on the iRacing forums. So to do that, I'll apply my changes. Then I'm going to save as and give it a quick title. Save the title. You'll see that the setup has changed. And when I'm done, I'll click Done. I just finished a test session, and what I'd like to do now is take the setup that I was racing with, and I want to share it now with my club mates in Club Massachusetts. So I found the forum section for that in the Club Mass Garage. I simply click it, and now I need to post a new topic. I want to give the topic a title, Daytona Road Setup for Riley DP. Quick description, which is be identical to the title here, Daytona Road Setup for Riley DP. I'm going to specify that this is for racing, not qualifying, because you can use different setups for each. Now what I need to do is I need to go find the setup. So I start with my documents right here, then I click iRacing, then I click Setups, and now I'm going down to the Riley DP folder. Then I choose the iRacingTV Club Mass setup, which is exactly what I saved when I was in the test session. When I'm ready, I click Open, and now that my title, description, and file are here, I'm ready to go down and actually submit this. Once the setup has been submitted, it'll appear in the forum just like this. And now other members from this club can go down and download the file and then upload it into their own test session. So after looking at all of this, this should give you a pretty good feeling for how to take a setup off the forum, bring it into iRacing, into a live test session or a race or qualifying session, and then load it into your car, change it if you want, practice with it, and then load it back up onto the forums to share with other iRacers. So I hope you enjoyed this section of our how-to. In the most recent build that launched this October, we added a great new feature that allows you to bind in-car controls to the steering wheel or to your keyboard. That way you've got access to them while you're driving in a live session. To do that, it's pretty easy. You just want to go up to the Options menu once you're loaded into a session. Then you want to go down to In-Car. And for this example, we're going to change the pit speed limiter from the keyboard button A to our wheel right up here. So again, all I have to do is click it and then assign it with a simple control. The next thing we're going to add is brake bias. So we're going to increase our brake bias in the car by using that button and decrease the brake bias using the button right below it. Again, it's okay if you don't have a G27. You can simply use these controls on your keyboard. When I'm done, I go down and click Done, and now we can go test it. So as we're coming into the pits here, I want to test to make sure that my pit speed limiter is working. So I'm going to click A. And as you can hear, pit speed limiter is working and it's keeping me right at the proper speed. It works all the way through the pits, and when I leave the pits, I just simply click it off and we're good to go. Different cars in iRacing have different controls that you can bind. In this case, with the Daytona prototype, I've chose to bind the brake bias adjustment, and now I can go up and down by using the controls I've set up on the steering wheel. I can do that at any time while I'm racing. Again, if you don't have the G27, that's no problem. You can bind these keys to your keyboard. Series, Luca Maciella is on track to win every race this season in the new V8 Supercar Series. But there were other great battles in all the top splits this week when the feeder series for the DWC takes round 12 to one of the most stunning tracks in the iRacing stable. Tom Beatty calls all the action live from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Round Round 12 of the iRacing Road Pro Series brought the V8 supercars to Mid-Ohio for their first ever visit to the 2.5-mile circuit. In the highest split race of the week, Luca Massier tried to continue his flawless charge towards the championship title. He is now 10 for 10 and practically assures himself a top spot in next season's DWC. The Finn made a great getaway from the drop of the green flag to break clear of the 15-car field headed into turn 1. Making up for his DNF in the previous race, Scandinavian Jesse Nieminen was able to hold off persistent attention from Matthias Egger throughout the first half of the race. And after he nailed his scheduled pit stop, Nieminen was able to maintain the momentum of fresh tires and take the second spot comfortably ahead of the Italian. Massier was able to cruise to the end of the 45-lap race unchallenged, finishing more than 15 seconds clear of second place. With his blistering form of 11 victories and as many starts, Massier is putting on a display that is making the iRacing Drivers' World Championship frontrunners sit up and watch. The most intense battle of the weekend came from David Williams, Marcus Sari, Brian Heitkotter, and Yao Vaz, with the four of them running nose to tail for most of the race in a fight for sixth spot. It wasn't until the pit stops that any of them could find any time to even take a breath, and Williams was the first to take it to the pits. That proved to be the decisive tactic as the Englishman leapfrogged his way past Sari when he made his scheduled stop a few laps later. Sari then found himself in the clutches of Heitkotter and Yaz, and with just 5 laps to go, the trio were bunched together yet again. With only 2 laps to go, Yaz tries an ambitious pass around the outside of Sari into turn 4, but as they both struggle for grip, the pair make the faintest contact. Capitalizing on that failed attempt, Heitkotter carries his momentum to steal 8th spot around the outside as they come over the hill to turn 5. But refusing to go down without a fight, Yaz puts it all on the line with a daring move in the entry in the turn 1 on the final lap, but the Iberian Club Racer's braking is too little too late. He locks up his tires under braking and sails off into the dirt, sealing his fate of 9th place for the day. Brian Heitkotter then sets his mind to snatching 7th spot away from Sari on the final lap, but with some excellent defensive driving by Sari on some very old tires, he was just able to hold off the Californian in the last few turns of another White Knuckle Pro Series race. So the seemingly unstoppable Massier awards himself 296 points for the week to increase his lead in the championship standings to nearly 300. The podium finishes by Jesse Nieminen sees him narrow the gap this week to Egger to only 81 points as the series heads next week to Barber Motorsports Park. I'm Tom Beatty for iRacingTV.
Next up is the US-Canada semifinal round of the Intel GP Series. Before we go to the footage, I want to take an opportunity to thank our special guest and Grand Marshal, Justin Wilson. Also, we had some great partners along the way that helped bring this event to you. They were Intel, Logitech, and PlayC Chassis. Without their help, this would not have been possible.
You're right, Sean, and us at PSR TV, we're proud to be a part of it. This amazing caveat of drivers qualified up through the system and had the honor of racing on the huge show floor of Comic-Con. It's a wonder these drivers were able to concentrate on racing at all. 10 drivers take the grid here at this epic Northern California track. Youth prevailed as 19-year-old Jason Listner, the youngest driver in the field, took the pole by 89 1/1000ths over heavyweight names like Gooden, Murray, Davies, Alfala, Sandman, and Prather. An impressive field that should put on a great show in New York. The rules are simple. Finish in the top 4 and you move on to Germany for the Extreme Masters Series Finals at Seabed in the spring. At the start, these equally matched Star Mazda cars stay side by side, headed towards the Andretti hairpin. Listener out in front of in the light blue car, Sturgis in the green car, Gooden in the dark blue as they head up for turn 3, where it always gets crowded on lap 1. Still side-by-side watch on the left-hand side of your screen. Brad Davies in the red car on the outside. Ray Alfala in his signature orange color scheme. It looks like Ray doesn't give Davies enough room. Davies has to take it to the dirt. He'll drop from 4th to 7th and manage 6th after 20 laps today. A little off by John Prather at the Rahal bend, and it's going to cost him big time headed up the hill. Let's watch as Sandman, Gosselin, Davies go past him in one big lump. But watch out, Sandman unable to get her stopped as he goes over the hill. Watch on board, just too hot with no braking force. Right over this little bump, and Singo, Sandman would finish a disappointing 8th. Here's a battle for that all-important 4th finishing spot in the trip to Germany. Alfala in 5th as he puts his nose under the gray car of Ryan Murray around the outside of turn 3. Murray has to concede. Right here as they head into turn 4. Ryan Murray had a hard time coming to grips with this rig. He had 10 off-track penalties. So we get to see another one here from onboard Christensen's car headed up towards the corkscrew. Ryan would struggle and finish 7th. Lap 10 as we look back from 2nd place, Jake the Steak Sturgis at iRacing's Wonder Boy Wyatt Gooden down into turn 1. The best place to pass here at Laguna Seca. Sturgis misses his turn-in point. Gooden slides inside and takes 2nd away from the Steak. Final lap, and Listener has a mirror full of Gooden. You don't have to win to go to Germany, but don't tell Wyatt Gooden that. He finishes just 2/10 back from the 19-year-old. Sturgis brings it home in 3rd. Ray Alfala will take the final go-ahead spot in 4th. And wins his trip to to race the European winners and the 4 Asia Pac winners in March. Here are the final standings. We'll see you in Germany. I'm Tom Beatty for iRacing TV.
Thanks for watching this episode of iRacing TV. From everybody here at the office, we really appreciate it. And to all the crew that made this episode possible, thank you. Next episode, we're going to get right into seeing the street stock. We're going to get some video for you. Also, we're going to have some video of Spa. So until then, I'll see you online.